just like to invite you to light your candle. As I said at the start, there's no rush for anybody to leave. You can just stay and be in each other's company. Thank you all so much for coming. On these days that we get to come together, the love that we have for one another as a result of our shared experience is always crystal clear. Unfortunately, premature loss and grief is the cloud that hangs over our shared experience. That's why we mark the end of Trans Awareness Week with today, a day that we get to come together and remember those that we have lost or that were taken too soon. As trans people, we face unrivaled levels of brutality. The annual statistics for our siblings that are lost to the actions of others are disarming and intolerable. In addition to this, it's impossible for us to know how many we have also lost as a result of discrimination, rejection, marginalisation, and a lack of basic necessities such as adequate healthcare. Today, we remember why we're here and what we are fighting for. To those of you that are here today as our allies, we need you now more than ever to carry the weight of our message. Our voices simply don't carry as far as yours, and change will only ever be possible with your support. To those of you that are here today that are grieving the loss of someone you love, we, the community, are here for you to lean on. We love you.
Of our trans siblings who cannot be with us. Before I introduce our amazing speakers, I want to take a minute to talk about Quiet Hope. I want to talk about parents of trans kids I met at Pride events over the summer who were doing everything in their power to protect their kids and allow them to be who they are. I want to talk about their power, their determination and their commitment. I want to talk about organisations like Not a Phase, Transactional Mermaids and many more who are pushing forward on our behalf. I want to remind you all that we are fighting back for ourselves and for the memory of those who came before us. Now to introduce our speakers, and to kick us off, please welcome the wonderful Jude.
Kelly Duhamel was a 39-year-old trans woman from San Francisco. She was my friend. We met in rehab, both battling addiction. She immediately took me under her wing. She became like a big sister during one of the lowest times in my life. She was kind, compassionate, caring, loyal, and one of the most loving people I have ever met. She was always inspiring and someone that had so much to give. One day she randomly bought 3 pairs of pink unicorn slippers in 30-degree heat. She gave me a pair that I still wear every single day. Addiction is a dark and lonely world that I feel this community know all too well. One that she wasn't able to overcome before she decided that it was too much to bear. Kelly told me that it was the trans stares that had triggered her into another relapse. We can talk about addiction, or we can talk about the underlying reasons for it. Direct forms of discrimination are not the only cause of the suffering in this community. It's a culture of transphobia that perpetuates violence, discrimination, struggles with mental health, and the silent killer of addiction. And even when people make us the butt of their jokes, they are personally responsible for fueling cruelty towards our community. I want anyone to know that if you're struggling, you're not alone, because I'm here, we're here, and we will love you. I'm going to finish with a message Kelly sent me. We joked about recovery being like Star Wars. Maybe some of us will be able to take something from her words. Jude, I would like you to promise me something. That's never to forget how great you have it. You have amazing friends and an amazing community of queer people that care. Please never ever take that for granted. Hold them close, despite the drama and the bullshit, because they're the only thing that matter in this life. They are as imperfect as we all are, and just as beautiful and perfect too. Take it from an old salty bitch. Be positive. Be a light to others. Support them as you can and have. And lean on them when you need to. Listen carefully to what they say, especially when you don't want to hear it. This isn't about me, it's about making sure you, the next generation, have a better chance. That's what brings me joy today. Love yourself, love others hard, and you'll go far. Promise me that, please, and be the Jedi. Thank you.
I was wondering what I'd speak about today, and I decided to speak about Soho, because I know it best. I would have transitioned in the 80s, early 90s. And I fled from Dublin to here, where I was outed as a trans woman then. So back in the day, for many of us was a safe haven. And for many of us it led to addictions, prostitution, and things we never thought that we would ever have to do. Today I want to remember three people in particular: Charlene, Vivian, and Lisa. These were three of my friends who are not with us anymore. I had other friends that were murdered. Back then, there was quite a clutter of us, maybe about 20 or 30. Today, from my group, there's only about 3 or 4 of us left. I fought addictions. I'm clean and sober 17 years now. Today my life is different. It has changed. I know we have a long way to go, but I think we also need to recognise that it has changed a big deal since the 80s and 90s. For me today is Remembrance Day, but every day is. You know, we fight so many battles on so many fronts on a daily basis. Today I work at 5016 Street with Trans Plus, and it's a great team in there. We didn't have that back in the 80s or 90s. I run Project Boot Camp both here in London and in Dublin. It changes people's lives. What Not a Phase is doing changes people's lives. But we all need to be active in this, and we all need to stick together and fight together. So today, I stand in Soho, a different Rebecca than the streetwalker I was in the 80s and 90s. So I will leave it at that. Thank you so much.
First of all, thank you for being here today. I would like to invite you all, if you feel comfortable, to maybe put your hand on the shoulder of the next person, or with their permission, or just some form of unity or coming together. Because we all deserve to feel held, especially on a day like today. In fact, let's just take a second to take a few breaths together. So if you feel comfortable, close your eyes. We're going to breathe in for 4, we're going to hold for 4, and we're just going to release some of that pain and tension on the exhale. So breathing in, hold, 2, 3, 4, and release. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to do it one more time. I'm not going to talk now, I'm going to do it as well. Breathing in. Thank you. Okay, so today, usually I do talking and stuff, but today I'm here to honour the loss of one of my siblings, Shay. So I've gone back to a form of expressing myself, creative writing, that I actually used to do since like being terrible in a classroom and failing everything. It was a way that I kind of coped with my depression as a teenager. So been writing this late last night, so I'm gonna just go through it and hopefully don't fall off the edge of this podium as well. Okay, let's do it. Today I'm gonna do something I don't usually do. I'm gonna unmask the different shades of me, allow you in so that you can see all of the layers underneath. We talk about the importance of visibility, but how can I be visible if parts of me are in disguise? If my feelings I try to bury and hide, and if it's peace you seek, then I actively encourage you to speak. Speak up, ask for help, so no more covering up tonight, no more covering up tonight. I'm not really superhuman, and yeah, I'm strong like an oak tree, but a tornado came and uplifted me. No, not in a kind way, more like I throw you to the side way, and when we were left to clean up the aftermath. And what good is intelligence when it lacks emotion? We're left a mess, struggling to leave the house. Like, what the hell is going on? I'm losing track of time. He perdido mi hermano pequeño y no sé qué hacer. Yeah, don't know what to do since I lost you. This year's transgender day of remembrance is heavy on my heart. This year we lost a young one, not just one, but my sibling Shay. And I can't mask my sorrow on a day like today. And I wish I didn't have to stand here. I wish we didn't need a day to keep tally of how many trans siblings we lost along the way. So say their names, say it louder. I want them to hear you all the way down in Westminster. And I can't believe what I'm hearing, praying that my eyes are deceiving me. Cause on the 1st of February, I was up on top of the world, hanging out in the Nike HQ. On the 9th of February, I was up in the night, up in the morning, you know that time, right before the crack of dawn. Hitting the gym at 5 a.m, cause champions rise time and time again. Felt like a winner in a fresh pair of gifted sneakers. Even hit a PB on a deadlift. Little did I know, hours before, death came knocking. And Shay answered the door. Have you ever been struck by grief? Have you ever been struck by grief? And how can you stand, let alone breathe? But I had to keep it together for an entire community. And maybe all you saw was a student, a young man, an athlete. But I'm more than one thing. Suddenly became like a father figure and everyone else's older brother. From the flowers to the hours and the late night calls, telling you all I need you to stay, because you matter more than you know. And trans life matter and black lives matter, and we need to know within ourselves and in our souls. So please don't go. And I refuse to normalize death. And all I want to do is shield you from such pain and hatred. And if we remove the phobia, then we can get on with the trans joy. And what do you want? Freedom. What do you want? Humanity. What do you want? The right to work. Oh, and the privilege to pee. What do you want? To make it past the age of 30. We want more than a space. We want a safe world. And I can't ignore all the attacks on my people that are uncalled for. When the systems are failing us, the powers that be continue to dehumanize us. Rather than treat us as people, they put us into a box and then label it the debate and the press and Twitter viral. And allies, where are you? Allies, my trans siblings are dying and we need you too. We need you to stop talking and start showing up. We need you to give us a chance. At least get to know us before you judge. And stop telling our stories without consulting us. And if today I eat ice cream because my soul is heavy, that's okay. If I cancel all my plans, that's understandable, that's say. 6 months since the memorial, 6 months since I fled the country. All alone in a hotel room, felt extra blue, so we drank cans of red in Madrid. Heard your voice up on the balcony when taking in the morning sun as birds flew free. And all I could hear was, I'm free now, I'm free.
and I feel like you've been with me on my journey, and my win I dedicate to you, but I didn't want to do it as a tribute. I wish I could have shared it with you. I can't believe you're gone all too soon. I wish we could have found a way to give you the freedom you needed when you were here, when you were still here. And sometimes uplift feels like yesterday, and it's mad because hundreds of likes and congratulations, with nothing but pride in my accomplishments. But no trophy can take the pain away, and I would know I got 6, but it still don't fix it. And sometimes, you know, from a stranger to a sibling, sometimes you're lucky enough to be chosen. We were family, and whatever light you saw in me, know that I saw that light in you and in abundance. Sometimes people can come into your life, and it's not the quantity of time, but the magnitude of the mark that they leave upon your heart. Shay, you stood for so many things. Injustice you could not stand, and your smile was the best. And I'll never stop saying your name. I'll never stop fighting for trans rights. Shay forever, Shay forever. I want them to hear you all the way down in Westminster. And I don't have all the answers for you this time, because I'm still grieving the loss of one of mine. And all I can stress is that we must look after one another. Yo, forget Twitter, TikTok and Insta. Stop staring each other in the back just to get ahead. Stop thinking about your following and come back to the ground and connect. Visibility matters, but connectivity saves lives. So drop the competition, return back to the original mission. So IRL, in real life, hug a brother, hug a sister, hug a sibling, and remember to check in. A little hi, how are you can go a long way, because no one should ever feel that they're alone, and no one should ever feel like they are the only one. Thank you.
I know today's going to be difficult for everyone, but we still are community, we still are here together. So I do a lot of public speaking, but I've been postponing writing this for actually ages, because day to day can be difficult. We have to deal with the same burdens as everyone else, in addition to being members of this community. So why did I get into activism? Well, my story is I used to work on finance and trading floors. I know the other side, you can hate me there, it's fine. And I was more non-binary, and I ended up getting bullied for it. I was a very, very stubborn person, still am, and I ended up with post-traumatic stress disorder because I refused to leave. I had to relearn how to read and write and eat in a public setting, and I was effectively in isolation for 8 months. Now, I don't tell you that story if you feel sorry for me. I tell people that story all the time, because regardless of where you are with your mental health journey, regardless of what you're going through, it is possible to get through it. If you reach out to the right community, the right support, and be honest about who you are, there's nothing wrong with going through a tough time. But that anger about what happened to me, and the fact that I refused for it to happen to anyone else, is the reason why I got into activism. But along that journey, I met amazing people. That Cairo was talking about, such as Shay. Shay was 23. I'm trying to stop crying, but Shay was 23, and they consulted for Netflix about trans rights. They were vocal about everything. They did graphics for Trans Action UK, one of the charities that I run. Like, regardless of what they could do, they were the first person to do it. And I interviewed them once, and they were telling me about the horrendous things that happened to them with the NHS, with therapists. But they said it was such... They were so cool about it that you don't realise. We get so used to having trauma that we forget that it's not normal, and we do not deserve this. But Shay was a beautiful person, and if the strong members of our community are not pushing through, it means something is wrong, and it means society is wrong, and this government is wrong. The government has apologised through Section 28, but yet they still haven't done anything about it. So this is why it's really important to be visible. I know it's not easy, I know that sometimes you have bad days, but it's important to be visible and incredibly proud of who you are today. Me personally, I like to think that my ancestors would have been incredibly proud of me. That the ancestors would have embraced me, and would have understood me. And did you know that trans people were considered divine in ancient Mesopotamia, in the Temple of Artemis, and also two-spirited community as well? So we were pretty awesome, and we still are pretty awesome.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So right now, I am fighting as a director at Trans Action UK CIC. So we advocate and inform members of the trans and non-binary community. We do that through legislative reform. we write submissions to the UN, we write submissions to against violence against women and girls. If there's a submission, I work with some really, really amazing people that push for that fight. We do legislative reform, we mentioned that. We do healthcare. So there's a guide on our website. If you're uncomfortable talking to your GP about what they can deliver you, we have a guide written by GPs and sense checked by GPs for nothing. You can take that piece of paper and feel empowered in that first discussion. And we also work with reporters to explain why their articles are terrible. It's really terrible. But yeah, I work with amazing people. At LGBT Consortium, I'm a trustee and treasurer there. They provide funding for LGBT projects. And we created the Equity Fund, which is $500,000 from the National Lottery. Yes, the National Lottery cares about LGBT lives and LGBT difference. And that funding is there. So if you need £100 in order to start your project, you don't necessarily have the governance structures in place, please do apply. Because there are people in this community that really do care about us. So, the government, my favourite puppet. The government has apologised for Section 28 in 2020. But yet they continue to ignore the damage that they have done in our communities. During the GRA reform, organisations worked for 3 years in order to get that bill pushed through, and they did a 360 on it. During banning conversion therapy, they were trying to remove during supposed conversion therapy, they tried to remove trans people from the agenda. I don't know what's going on. The government is shocking and continues to be so. But, on that, please do not forget that the UN is on our side. The United Nations is on our side. The European Union is on our side. There are numerous organisations and bodies looking on what's happening in this country and are shocked and horrified as we are. So, today is a day where we remember the greatness that exists in our community, past, present, and yes, future. We remember our fallen siblings and the relentless fight that we still fight today. The only scars that I want to heal from are the ones that shape me into my true self. I refuse, and we refuse, to receive any more trauma from society and this government. So today we remember, but today we don't let them forget. So I ask you to raise your voices, or candles, depending on if you're in your fields. I'm in my fields too, so I completely understand. For our fallen siblings, the loving community that we have today, and more importantly, the collective battle that is yet to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny, so much for collecting us here today. I wanted to share a little story that's been quite on my mind a lot recently, and here I go. So, no, I fucked up my notes. Great, don't you? Why not? Sure, great. So, in short, I remember growing up in Bulgaria, and every summer I would go to the village that my grandparents originally grew up in. Favorite pastimes would be to take me for walks, and what we'd do is usually would either gossip about my grandfather's numerous affairs through the communist regime, or she would wax on about the abandoned houses on both sides of the road. So throughout the 20th century, Bulgaria urbanized aggressively, which left a majority of villages and smaller towns desolate. Although the people themselves scattered,
all every day for the friends, siblings, and family across the globe we have lost. The violence in how these divine humans who once stood ground beside us, who once shed a tear on our shoulders with us, who once had lived so authentically and catwalked in such a legacy of compassion, self-dignity, glimmer, and gorgeousness that they were murdered. They were taken from our very comforting arms, whether that's in the occasional hug, or through the interwebs of transcommunication lines that stretch across this scraggy, struggling globe. We are connected, whether that's to a soul rested 6 foot below these odd planes. We are connected to the past, transcending into the present, the future of their continued ways in your heart, the future of their continued ways in their imprinted footsteps patterned across our queer spaces and lives. Family, often an empty and quick thrown around word for someone we love. Today, it shall be personified to the maximum for every trans and gender diverse person whose legacy now rests, thrives, and is electrified in our actions day to day, our stories retold, and our vision to the unforeseeable. Everyone here remembers the first time they are hated for being. There is no simplicity in being because existing itself is a gift that is granted for people like me and you especially. Being is matched yet beyond our deepest feeling of grief for losses occurred. Today across the world, there's many trans people today that felt so unworthy and so unheard and so unseen that they are no longer with us, they are no longer breathing. The sacredness of breath and to be is denied in the form of a different killing, a different ending that seems to be silenced in every and many ways. To think people never experienced this love I'm feeling right now because they didn't get this type of outreach before they were killed. To think of trans youth who are bullied and ostracised to the ends of their life that are not growing up now seeing us be so fucking colourful. To think of people not leaving their hometown to see the diverse personalities and humour and queer spaces that have saved me. This is the most silent but most deadly crisis the globe is facing. Most silent as in that we are being silenced. But every day we are declaring there's no such thing as silence. We are in fact super fucking loud. We will not be shunned into a quiet space. We will love one another with the love the world has never seen. We will be there in an illuminating presence, where we are bright and still of deep value when we are feeling a bit down. Because in vulnerability there is light. We shall not be subsidised to an Instagram repost, and it's a bit of a call out here, but there's too many cis white gays obtaining a false sense of care and belief in reposting from a black trans woman is enough in the intersectional person of transphobia and racism. It's not enough. Do more, get out in the streets and commit to real action. Silence or complicity in its nature is not an option now. The privilege demonstrated just a few hundred metres from here in all cis gay white lineups. No facts or femmes unless you're defining femme by a pearl necklace, they're all allowed and all that kind of bullshit. It's grotesque. You have to call it out, stomp it out, because that stuff over time grinds against you. If it's not an imminent threat to violence, cultivating a community that is trans exclusionary never works. It never has worked. And I support one another, love one another. We're family. We are beautifully complex, beautifully shining, and beautifully living now. Thank you so much.
At the age of 20. Since Alice died, people who didn't know her have asked me what she was like. How can I begin to sum up the totality of what she was? What should I say first? Are some parts of her more important than others? How can I condense 20 years of everyday familiarity and closeness into something you can understand? When I picture Alice, I see her in an oversized hoodie and tiny hot pants, her go-to outfit for lounging around the house. The shorts used to belong to me and were one of many pieces of clothing that made their way from my wardrobe into hers over the years since she came out. I was so happy to have a little sister that I forgot to be annoyed about it. Alice loved to play video games with people from all over the world, and she developed a distinctive, almost transatlantic accent. The particular inflections of her speech play in my head like music, and it's hard to believe that I can't pick up the phone to hear her voice. Alice was often self-conscious, but she danced with beautiful fluidity and complete freedom. It made her really happy. One of my last memories of her is us dancing and shrieking along to Kate Bush while celebrating our mum's birthday the month before she died. Alice was always quick to say, "I love you." It was something she said in place of thank you or goodbye. She was sweet, gentle, and forgiving. And Alice struggled. In a poem we found after her death, she wrote, "I can't go out alone. I can't get on a train." She had severe anxiety about being perceived in public. For this reason, she felt safest in the dark and would often choose a long midnight walk home over a bus or a train. After Alice died, we found out that she had recently reached out to her GP for support. This is what she wrote. "I've had 6 sessions of NHS counselling. I've tried private therapy with no benefit. I've received private hormone prescriptions. I'm unhappy with my care. I'm not sure my hormones are being managed effectively. I'm not on any T blocker. I'm concerned that I have missed out on vital treatment and I'm keen to start ASAP. I've tried to switch to another prescriber. The barriers are too overwhelming and I cannot afford it. I've been on the gender identity clinic waitlist for over 2.5 years with no end in sight. I need an appointment. I am struggling. I often feel hopeless and helpless and feel like life is not worth living. Alice died 1 month after she wrote this. Acceptance is seen as the final stage of grief, but Alice's death isn't something I ever want to fully accept. Her death was not inevitable, and in a different and better world, she might have lived. I try to sit with the contingency of Alice's death, to recall a time when her future seemed long and certain. I cling to the disbelief and total shock that I felt in the moments after my parents appeared on my doorstep and told me that she had died. How it contradicted everything I knew to be true about the world. I want us to build the world that Alice should have lived in. One where she could imagine a happy future for herself. One where death did not feel like her only option. One where trans people do not face threats to their safety, their autonomy, and their happiness. My family, who are here today, and I, will always name the political conditions of Alice's death. I will never forgive the people who transformed my sister's life into a pawn in their meaningless culture war. Each of them should know Alice's name and bear the shame of her death. I know that trans life and joy is possible. The trans people who are here today show us a better way to live and honour Alice with every day that you thrive in defiance of those who wish you did not. I only wish that Alice was here amongst you. She was my sweet and precious little sister, and life is poorer without her in it. Thank you.
Share a bit of the story that I have lifelong PTSD because I am trans and I am very far from alone. I journal every day, and there is not a day that I don't wake up feeling a lot of shame about myself and shame about who I am and some disgust, and there's not a day that I just don't journal the phrase I hate myself. And I believe that all of this mental cage is a burden that we all kind of carry. And I wanted to share that because I do think that a lot of people are going to relate to that shame, that self-hatred that got passed on to us unfairly. Because of what happened in 2017, I started studying psychology to help myself with my PTSD. And then I stumbled upon a Guaitamacchi video which studies addiction, and he was talking to someone that's suffering from alcohol addiction, and that person said that he used alcohol to numb the pain, and then Dr. Mate actually said to him, well, where did you get the pain? And that is where we got the pain. The pain is why we're here, is because society all gave us the pain and the style guided.
Hidden with our torches under sheets of taffeta and silk, where we danced like pagans around a fire through the unforgiving night. Our eyeliner smudged like fingerprints on our hands and lipstick stains on our teeth. Little ladies stomping around in mummy's shoes and scarves. Marcia, Venus, Stormé and Sylvia. These were names we had traced into our collarbones and down our sternums. A secret page of a hidden history we no longer needed to address. How naive we were. Every street we walk, every wall we climb. Their names glow under my skin, like little embers after putting out a pagan fire. Cobbled streets are hard to walk on, especially in broken heels. There's bruises on our ankles, but it's fine. we're fine. Still we stomp on for those who have gone and for those who have yet to come. Damp butterflies emerging from the chrysalis, drenched in synapses and neural pathways, their brains fluttering with activity. They ask the questions that nobody seems to bother posing. How is it that little fires grow? Who is it that the lonely heart will know? What colour are the lines on my palms from where my nails have dug far too hard? The fault lines between my metacarpals and my phalanges rub together to make beautiful music, like a blade of lemongrass between my lips. The tiny bluebell under my tongue dissolves to make my eyes wider and my face whole again, and still my bruises grow. Hold me in your heart, my love, and craft me from the rib of Adam, a boy with lines right under his chest, to make me into something new, something safe, something whole again, but still with something missing, like the lines in between the cobblestone streets that we used to walk before we said goodbye. Thank you.